Okay, in the tutorial for today, we're going to look at advantages and disadvantages, task 2, essay question time. Now, we've looked at, to what extent, we've looked at discuss both views, you've seen the structure, how it's arranged and organized, and you've seen some examples. So, what we need to note at first is we've got a number of slightly different versions of this question type, and they need a slightly different approach accordingly. So this is the question. So some essays might say something like, due to technological advances, many people now have the opportunity to work remotely via the internet. So question type 1, discuss the advantages and disadvantages, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your own opinion. So question 1, it's basically like the discuss both views essay. It only asks us to basically say what the advantages and disadvantages are. It's not asking for us to choose which is better, worse, or express an opinion. So the structure for this essay is relatively simple. It's more or less like they discuss both views. You know, advantages paragraph 2, disadvantages in paragraph 3. That's it. We'll take a look at an example a little later to explain this. So the structure for this, as with all questions, sentence 1, paraphrase the question. Like the discuss both views, we have an outline. What's the essay going to be talking about? Paragraph 2, advantages. So sentence 3, topic sentence, advantage 1 is, explain exactly how or why it's an advantage, and an example. Number 3, for disadvantages, exactly the same. The disadvantage is because, as an example, bum bum bum. Sentence 9, in conclusion, the advantages, the disadvantages, blah blah blah. So that's quite straightforward, you know. So the second one, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Well, that's basically asking which is the stronger, which is better, which outweighs. So for paragraph 2, you will need 2 reasons and examples to show that it is a stronger one. Whereas for paragraph 3, a weaker side, we only need 1. Now this depends of course upon which side you think is stronger or weaker, or more importantly, whichever you think you can think of reasons and examples for, that's the one that you choose, which is stronger or weaker. So a structure for this might look something such as this. You'll notice the difference immediately. Introduction, we've got an extra sentence. So sentence 1, paraphrase the question, outline sentence, but we've got this extra sentence now, which basically says, I believe that this outweighs this, or the obvious advantage is this because it outweighs this, etc. And if you look at paragraph 2, as you'll see, we've got a lot more here. Main idea, explain why it's strong, example. Your topic sentence, main idea, again, explain why it's strong, example. Compare that with paragraph 3. We've just got a topic sentence, explain why it's not strong or weak, and an example. And then, in conclusion, just a summary of your main points and restate. Okay. Now, for for question 3, we must discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give a clear opinion. So for this one, we need an extra paragraph. So this one is basically 5. Now, most of the essays typically have a 4-paragraph as a structure. For this one, we're going to use an extra paragraph to express our opinion. So if we look at the introduction, as always, paraphrase the question. I believe that blah blah blah, your opinion. In this essay, I will discuss blah 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 blah. Okay. Paragraph 2, advantages. Your topic sentence, your main idea, explain, expand, example. Paragraph 3, the disadvantages, exactly the same. Topic, explain, example. Then paragraph 4, what's the opinion, and give an example. Now, we will take a look at some examples in a moment to illustrate this point. And then conclusion, a summary. In conclusion, blah, 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 blah. So let's see some examples. So essay 1, and I'm using the same question. Due to technological advances, many people now have the opportunity to work remotely via the internet. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for people who do this. So, and the structure, as we've seen, paraphrase, outline, topic sentence, explain, expand. I'll post all these files and the essays on my site, prepareielts.com, and I'll put a link to it afterwards. So, where are we? Okay, right. So, advances in technology such as the internet mean that many people are able to work away from the traditional office, whether at home or abroad. This essay will argue that the main advantage is the freedom this way of working brings, while the main disadvantage is the increased need for self-motivation. Okay, if you look at the structure, a phrase, outline. Okay, so working at home or on the beach and being able to set their own working hours is undoubtedly a dream for many people. There are many workers around the world who would love to be free from having to live the daily grind of 9-to-5 typical office life and the restrictions it brings. For example, a recent survey, which I invented, because as I've mentioned before, nobody is going to check your examples just as long as it seems logical or plausible. So, for example, a recent survey by the Confederation of Office Workers, if such an organisation exists, suggested that 85% of their members would take advantage of remote working if their company were to introduce it. Okay. However, a major disadvantage is that working away from a structured environment, such as an office, a person might tend to waste time and procrastinate. Some people work best under supervision, and being free from this might make it hard for them to get sufficiently motivated to perform their work efficiently and effectively. For example, a survey last year by nomadlist.com showed that a lack of motivation was #1 a problem for 90% of so-called digital nomads working remotely. In conclusion, although working remotely may bring a freedom to many and could well seem attractive to typical office workers, a possible drawback to this lack of supervision may be a tendency to procrastinate, which may lead to inefficiency. 258 words. It's a little short. Well, I mean, it's above the 250, but it's nice and simple. Main idea, outline sentence, main idea, explain, example, main idea, explain, example. Restate your main ideas. Okay. Next essay, so this is the one about, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So sentence 1, exactly the same, it paraphrases, advances in technology, blah 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 blah. But what we need to do now, let's have a look, is we paraphrase. We need to say which outweighs the other, and we need an outline. So back to the essay. So sentence 1, advances blah blah blah. I firmly believe the advantages to this outweigh the disadvantages. So a clear expression here. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Now the outline. This essay will show that having the freedom to choose your own hours and location of working, it clearly outweighs the main disadvantage, which is a tendency to procrastinate. So for this, in paragraph 2, as we've seen, we need 2 examples, 2 main ideas, 2 examples. So main idea, your topic sentence. Freedom is clearly the major plus point of remote working. Explain it. As long as you get your work done, it doesn't matter what hours you work to achieve this. For example, research by the University of York showed that 85% of bosses had no preference as to their remote employees' working hours, so long as their projects were completed on time and in budget. Your second main idea, explanation and example comes. Additionally, being able to choose your working location is a significant benefit to remote workers. Given the choice, not many people would choose cold, rainy England over an exotic beach location to work in. I certainly wouldn't. The website, nomadlist.com, reported that aside from cheapness, 95% of their subscribers said that the reason they became remote workers was so they could leave their home country and live abroad in a warm climate. So that's a paragraph seems a little bit long and complex, but it's not really. Essentially, the structure is pretty straightforward. You've got your topic sentence, and you've got an explanation why it's strong, example, topic sentence, explain, example, and that's it. So for the next paragraph, this is the weaker side. So again, what's your topic sentence, explain, example. So let's have a peep. However, the tendency to waste time and work inefficiently could well be a significant disadvantage to the freedoms mentioned above. Despite this, it could be argued that those who take this option must be resourceful and strong-willed to leave their country for the new environment. In this case, their personal levels of motivation should be sufficient to ensure they stick to their work ethic. In conclusion, then, the advantages of personal freedom clearly outweigh the potential disadvantage of time-wasting and ineffective working practices. 279 words. So that's not too bad. Now, again, this is a more complicated one because we have to explain a little bit more, because we have to show why this is a stronger side and why this is a weaker side. So let's have a look at the third and final essay. So this is the discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your own opinion. So the structure of this is you paraphrase your question first, thesis statement, what you think, and again outline sentence. Then it's basically the same. Your topic sentence, explain, expand, and then example, your disadvantage, topic, explain, example. The difference here, as I mentioned, we've got 5 paragraphs here. It's only a short one. You could you could possibly combine it into these two, but I think it's easier to just have it as a separate paragraph. So explain your opinion, expand, give example, and then in conclusion, a summary. So let's have a look. So sentence 1, exactly the same, advances, blah, 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 blah. This essay will argue that remote working is clearly beneficial in many cases. So you don't specifically have to say, I think this essay, or I agree this essay agrees, or this essay shows, just as long as, this essay will argue that this is clearly beneficial. So that's obviously an opinion. Remote working is clearly a benefit, so it's good. So that's an opinion. And then your outline sentence, it will show how the main advantage, again, as I mentioned before in the previous week, spell it out. What exactly is the task? Main advantage, again, personal freedom. Discuss out a possible downside. A paraphrase of disadvantage is isolation and loneliness. Okay. So the structure for the rest of it is basically the same as we said. Topic, explain, example, topic, explain, example. So, your topic sentence, the main benefit of remote working is the ability to choose the times you work and the location you work from. So that's the main advantage. Explain it. If you can work from home in your pajamas instead of getting up at dawn to spend an hour commuting to the office, this is a clear advantage. For example, if you get up at 6 to spend an hour driving to work, the same to come home, then by working at home you'll have 2 extra hours a day to spend as you wish. Okay, so that's an obvious advantage. You are saving a couple of hours. But what's the disadvantage? Well, significant disadvantage for some is the isolation of working at home. For many single people, most of their social contact with other people is at work. So if you work at home, you're taking this away, it may well cause feelings of loneliness. A recent survey by the BMC said social isolation is the main cause of 70% of patients suffering depression. Oh dear. Now, paragraph 4, opinion, explain, expand, example. So, despite this potential drawback of loneliness, I believe that for most people who are well balanced and aware of the possibilities of social isolation, the main opportunities that remote working offers are clearly of major benefit. So I've kind of put those two sentences into a single sentence there, but we have a clearly expressed opinion and we've got an example. The opportunities that remote working offers are clearly of major benefit. Conclusion: as technology advances, the traditional ways of working are changing. It's up to the individual to weigh the choice of freedom versus isolation that this brings and decide for themselves. 284 words. So that's not too bad. So as you can see, depending on how the question's worded, we need a different approach, structure to the essay. So in summary then, oops, why hasn't that moved? Get back. Right, so in summary, advantages and disadvantages, that's pretty straightforward. It's just paragraph 2, advantages, paragraph 3, disadvantages. In this one, we have to write a little bit more in paragraph 2 because we have to show why this does outweigh this. And then in the third one, we need an extra paragraph to express our opinion. Now, it's possible you can combine a couple of these stages, but in general, that's what you can do. So that's not so bad. I'm going to post these on my blog. I'll put the links in the channel here in the text. As a matter of fact, I'll type it out here. So I'm going to put them on my blog site, and you can download and copy them out of the screen and use them accordingly. If you've got any suggestions or questions about anything, if you want me to make a tutorial about anything to do with writing, you can write to me here at this email, and I'll see what I can do. Okay, great. That's about it. I'll see you later.